Mount Rainier. A titan of the Cascade Range, this majestic mountain casts a long shadow over the Pacific Northwest. Its glacial valleys and alpine meadows hold secrets whispered on the wind. Native American lore speaks of a powerful spirit residing on the mountain. They called it Tahoma, a place of reverence and mystery. For centuries, Mount Rainier has drawn adventurers to its slopes. Climbers from around the world come to test their skills against its icy heights. Some seek glory, others seek solitude. All who venture onto its slopes feel the mountain's raw, untamed power. Wildflowers paint the meadows in vibrant hues. Crystal-clear streams rush down the mountainsides, their music echoing through the forests. And in the summer of 1950, a group of climbers would answer that call, their journey forever intertwined with the legend of Mount Rainier. The summer of 1950 dawned bright and clear in the Pacific Northwest. The city of Seattle, nestled in the shadow of Mount Rainier, buzzed with life. But for a group of friends, the city's allure held little sway. Their sights were set on higher ground. Mount Rainier, in all its summer glory, beckoned. They had planned this expedition for months, poring over maps and gear lists, their excitement growing with each passing day. They were experienced climbers, each with their own reasons for answering the mountain's call. Jack, the seasoned veteran with a thirst for adventure, Sarah, the team's leader, known for her cool head and meticulous planning, and David, the youngest, eager to prove himself on Rainier's slopes. Their bond was forged in the crucible of past climbs. They had shared ropes and laughter, faced down storms, and celebrated triumphs together. Each member brought a unique set of skills to the team. Jack, with his years of experience, was the group's anchor, a steady presence in the face of adversity. Sarah, a skilled navigator and strategist, kept them on course and focused on their goal. David, with his youthful energy and enthusiasm, provided a welcome spark of levity. Their preparations were meticulous. They studied maps, checked and rechecked their gear, and packed for every eventuality. They knew the mountain could be unpredictable. Finally, the day arrived, and they set off towards Mount Rainier. The road to Mount Rainier National Park wound its way through dense forests and past cascading waterfalls. The air grew cooler, crisper, as they climbed higher, leaving behind the hustle and bustle of the city. They arrived at Paradise Meadows, aptly named for its breathtaking beauty. Wildflowers carpeted the meadows in a riot of color, their sweet fragrance carried on the gentle breeze. The climbers shouldered their backpacks, the weight familiar and reassuring. Excitement thrummed through the group as they set off on the well-worn trail. The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows through the towering trees. The only sounds were the crunch of their boots on the trail and the melodic calls of unseen birds. The mountain loomed large before them, its snow-capped peak piercing the blue sky. As they ascended, the terrain grew steeper, the air thinner. Trees gave way to scrub and rock, the landscape taking on a stark, almost lunar beauty. They moved with the ease of experience, their rhythm honed by countless climbs. Each step took them further from civilization, deeper into the mountain's embrace. The world seemed to shrink to the next handhold, the next step. They made camp as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the mountainside. Huddled around their camp stove, they shared stories and laughter, their voices low in the stillness. Above them, the stars twinkled in the night sky, a million points of light against the velvet darkness. The following morning, they awoke to a world transformed. Snow had fallen during the night, blanketing the landscape in pristine white. The air was crisp and still, the silence almost deafening. Breaking camp, they moved with a newfound sense of purpose. The summit, their goal, seemed closer now, yet they knew the most challenging part of the climb lay ahead. They donned crampons, their ice axes ringing out against the frozen ground. Every step required focus, every movement deliberate. As they climbed, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Then, they found the footprints. The snow crunched beneath their boots, a rhythmic counterpoint to their steady breathing. Each step forward took them higher, closer to their goal, but a sense of unease began to settle over the group. Jack, ever vigilant, was the first to notice the anomaly. He stopped abruptly, his gaze fixed on the ground ahead. "Hold up!" he called out, his voice sharp in the stillness. "What's that?" The others gathered around him, their breath misting in the cold air, their gazes following his pointed finger. There, imprinted in the fresh snow, was a line of footprints unlike any they had ever seen. The tracks were enormous, easily twice the size of a man's foot and spaced far apart. A shiver ran down Sarah's spine despite the layers of clothing. David, ever the pragmatist, knelt for a closer look. He traced the outline of one print with his ice axe, his brow furrowed in thought. "Maybe a bear?" he suggested, though even he didn't sound convinced. "Bears don't walk upright," Jack countered, shaking his head. "These prints show a bipedal gait, a creature walking on two legs just like us." A heavy silence descended upon the group. The wind seemed to whisper through the mountain peaks, carrying with it the echoes of ancient legends, tales of a creature that roamed these very slopes, a being of immense size and strength, known to the Native American tribes as Sasquatch, but to the world at large as Bigfoot. Sarah, a woman of science and logic, tried to rationalize what they were seeing. "Up here," David scoffed, gesturing at their remote location. "Who'd go through the trouble, and how could they make prints this big?" The questions hung in the air unanswered. The climbers studied the tracks, their initial disbelief giving way to a growing sense of awe and perhaps a touch of primal fear. The prints continued in a straight line, heading deeper into the wilderness, their trajectory impossible for any human to have made in this treacherous terrain. A decision had to be made: turn back and report their findings, or follow the tracks and see where they led. Venturing further into the unknown, they chose the latter. The wind howled through the mountain passes, a mournful sound that seemed to echo the climbers' growing unease. As they followed the trail of impossible footprints, the legend of Bigfoot, once a campfire story, took on a chilling reality. For generations, the indigenous people of the Pacific Northwest had spoken of a creature that inhabited the region's dense forests and rugged mountains. They called it by many names: Sasquatch, Skookum, Omar, but the essence remained the same: a being of immense size and strength, covered in hair, walking upright like a man, yet possessing a power and wildness that defied human understanding. These tales were often woven into the fabric of their culture, passed down through generations. It was seen as a guardian of the wilderness, a protector of the natural world, to be avoided rather than confronted. The climbers, products of their time, had always dismissed these stories as folklore, the product of overactive imaginations and the human tendency to fill the void of the unknown with myth. Yet here they were, confronted with evidence that challenged their rational world view. The footprints were undeniable, their size and stride beyond the realm of any known animal. They recalled the stories they had heard, stories of the creature's elusiveness, its ability to disappear into the wilderness without a trace. Could there be some truth to the legends? Could this creature, this Bigfoot, be something more than just a myth? As they continued their ascent, the air grew colder, the wind biting at any exposed skin. The trail of footprints led them ever higher towards the cloud-shrouded peak of Mount Rainier, a place where myth and reality seemed to converge. Their journey had become more than just a climb. It was a quest for answers, a pursuit of the unknown. The legend of Bigfoot, once a distant legend, now echoed loudly in their minds. The trail of footprints led them deeper into the wilderness, the terrain becoming increasingly treacherous. They moved with caution, their senses on high alert, every shadow, every rustle of wind in the trees, seeming to whisper of unseen eyes. The silence of the mountain, once peaceful, was now oppressive, broken only by the crunch of their boots on the snow and the pounding of their own hearts. They spoke little, their words lost in the vastness of their surroundings. Each man was lost in his own thoughts, wrestling with the implications of what they had stumbled upon. The footprints were too large, too perfectly formed to be anything but deliberate. The sun, a pale disk behind the gathering clouds, offered little warmth. They pressed onward, driven by a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The trail of footprints led them higher, towards the cloud-shrouded peak of Mount Rainier, a place where myth and reality seemed to converge. The feeling of being watched intensified. Fleeting glimpses of movement at the edge of their vision, shadows flitting among the trees, kept them constantly on edge. They paused often, listening intently for any sound that might betray the creature's presence. But the only sounds were the wind howling through the mountain passes and the beating of their own hearts. They were venturing into the unknown, both literally and figuratively. As dusk approached, casting long shadows across the snowy slopes, they decided to make camp. They found a sheltered spot beneath a rocky overhang, hoping for some protection from the elements. The wind howled through the mountain passes, its mournful cry a constant reminder of the wilderness they had entered. They worked quickly, their movements honed by years of experience, setting up their tents and gathering firewood. A small fire crackled to life, casting a meager circle of warmth against the encroaching darkness. They ate their rations in silence, their minds still racing with the events of the day. The wind howled through the mountain passes, whipping the tent walls with icy gusts. Inside, huddled in their sleeping bags, the climbers struggled to find sleep. The events of the day played over and over in their minds, the impossible footprints, the feeling of being watched, the growing sense of unease. Sleep, when it finally came, was filled with unsettling dreams, visions of a massive, shadowy figure moving through the trees, its eyes glowing in the darkness. Every creak of the ice, every gust of wind that buffeted their tents sent a jolt of adrenaline through their systems. Once, during the long night, they were awakened by a sound that sent fear gripping their nerves. A bone-chilling, beastly growl, primal and menacing, echoed from somewhere out in the darkness. They lay frozen in their sleeping bags, their hearts pounding in their chests, listening intently for any sign that the creature was approaching. The descent was a blur. Each step took them closer to civilization, yet the experience clung to them like the icy air they breathed. They had ascended Mount Rainier seeking adventure, a test of their skills against nature's grandeur. They descended forever, marked by an encounter that defied explanation. Upon their return, their story was met with skepticism and fascination. They presented photographs and sketches, their accounts consistent and compelling. The 1950 Mount Rainier sighting became a watershed moment in the annals of cryptozoology. It ignited a firestorm of debate, fueled countless expeditions, and cemented Bigfoot's place in popular culture. The climbers, thrust into the spotlight, found themselves at the center of a mystery that captivated the world. Their story resonated with a primal fear and fascination, tapping into humanity's enduring curiosity about the unknown. It gave voice to the whispers in the shadows, the legends passed down through generations, the unsettling possibility that we share our world with creatures yet to be classified by science. The 1950 sighting did not provide definitive proof of Bigfoot's existence, but it did something perhaps even more profound. It planted a seed of doubt, a glimmer of possibility in the minds of those who had always dismissed the legend as mere folklore. The legend of Bigfoot, like the mountain it calls home, is shrouded in mystery. It exists in the realm of fleeting glimpses, grainy photographs, and footprints in the snow. The 1950 Mount Rainier sighting remains a subject of debate. For some, the lack of concrete evidence is proof of its non-existence. Bigfoot, they argue, is a product of folklore or misidentification. Others see the lack of proof as a challenge to explore deeper. And perhaps that is the enduring allure of Bigfoot. It represents the wildness that still exists in our world, the possibility that there are creatures yet to be discovered. The 1950 Mount Rainier sighting, whether a genuine encounter or a product of human perception, left an undeniable mark. It reminded us that the world is full of wonders, and that sometimes the most incredible stories are the ones we tell ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unknown, exploring the true and strange stories of Bigfoot and other mysteries. If you enjoyed this tale and want to hear more, please don't forget to like this story, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support allows me to continue sharing these unique stories with you. Stay tuned for more strange and fascinating tales from the world of the unexplained. Together, we'll continue to explore the mysteries that challenge our understanding of the world and fuel our imaginations.